friends, welcome back to Shiksha Junction with a new episode on human machine interface. In the short, it is called as HMI system. So, just like previous videos, we have already seen through some industrial automations and other things. So, this is another product by automation. So, there are so many products in automation basically. So, one of them product is human machine interface HMI system, which is broadly used for process industries nearby the actual process. So this machine is purely a hardware based, just like a PLC. So it's a hardware with its own software. So HMI is been made or developed by a number of manufacturers. Whoever is the PLC manufacturers, they will be also creating or developing these HMI systems. Just like Schneider, Siemens. So there are some topmost brands as well. So this is a hardware basically. And what it means and what is human machine? That means if you have seen the ATM machine, it can be called as an HMI systems. This is how it looks. So this is one of the company called Kinco, which develops this thing. So you can see that hardware is there, which having a one screen. So this screen is purely a touch screen basic, and it is colored screen. So the process is developed here on the screen itself through some software. Once it is loaded inside this, then this can be connected to PLC. So ultimately, this has to be connected to some PLC or controller. Field instruments doesn't connect directly with the HMI system. It's not possible. And this is how it is basically. So you can see that the HMI is there in the front, this small panel, this is HMI screen, and this is connected to this machine, assuming it's some process or some cutting tool or cutting machine. So this cutting machine will be operated through this HMI. So nobody will enter inside this machine, or nobody will be standing in front of this machine, because of course that machine can be dangerous. If it's a cutting tool, the blade is cutting down, it may damage or it can harm the human. So from a far away, just like I'm just in front of the conveyor system. Okay, not exactly in the front, in the side at the corner, and from there I want to operate it. So from a safe manner, in a safety manner, if you want to operate any machine, this is the best solution. So that is why I was telling you, HMI is used with every machines nowadays. So every mechanical machines or electrical machines or even the electrical panels, if you want to operate or energize, it is done through these HMI systems. So HMI is purely nowadays, which are coming now, the to the advancement, because of the advancement in these controllers in these HMI systems. Now it is purely a color-based screen and with a touch screen, just like what you use it in the laptops. The same way you will be operating these HMI systems. And this is another example of HMI operations in the field. Again, you can see some of the machines are connected to the HMI with the panel. Of course, some physical switches are also there. So in case if the touch panel is not working, or in case the things are not working, so you should have something in your hand. So for that purpose, some emergency start push buttons are also been there here. Okay. So these are the typical applications. Just like I was telling you that for monitoring system or from controlling from a particular corner, so you can use it. So even for tracking and controlling building automations and security electrical panels or substations monitoring systems, pipeline is just like, it can be a water pipeline or it can be oil and gas pipeline. Monitoring system, transportation controlling. Then batch process is nothing but the continuous process. So if you want to stop the continuous process, just like conveyor is carrying the load continuously, the coal has been carried out. Okay, in the batch form, just like I have just passed on the first batch of the coal, then the second batch, I want to control, I want to send, I want to change the timing of the conveyor system, I want to change the starting time, stopping time. So all these things you can operate from the HMI itself. And same heating ventilation, yes, HVAC system is the best example. All the malls, every malls have these HVAC systems. HVAC systems is nothing but heating ventilation. That means you are controlling the air circulations and the whatever the temperature is there. If you want to control the, so when I'm talking about the commercial malls, big buildings, high-rise buildings, so they have a centralized cooling system, just like in hotels. If you go 5-star hotels, 7-star hotels, all this stuff has been monitored there. So how they are monitoring all these things? So there should be some centralized zone area. So that is what we call it as an HMI. So on the panels, you will be having these HMI systems through which you can control it properly. Even in the telecommunication systems nowadays, they are using this. So each and every process industries you go, you will definitely find this. So there is not any hardcore programming needed for this thing. It's a very simple programming. It's purely a graphical based software. You have to simply drag it and put it on the screen. But when it should be on, when it should be off, that event has to be written. A small coding is there, but it is really very simple coding. So HMI SCADA systems are almost similar. Then when it comes to the features, that like I was talking about the functions, various functions which can be embedded, integrated in the HMI systems. So that can be done through the software. So what are these things? You can see this trending is written there, real-time trends. So that means some plotting system is there. Based on the temperature, what is the flow? Based on the time, what is the pressure developed in my boiler sections or turbine sections? So that can be done, or that can be visualized through a real-time trends. So trends is nothing but a plotters. Between X and Y axis, it will plot the graphs. Then alarming conditions are there. Alarming is just like what I have done is I have set some particular limits to my process. Just like whenever the steam pressures exceeds to some certain limit, I want the alarm should be generated. So generally in the field, the alarm is generated by using the light or some sound will be there. Suddenly the sound will get on. Suddenly the siren will be high. Why? Because it has crossed those limits. So whichever the specified values or limits you have been set for any process, any parameters you have set it, that you want to safeguard your machine so that it should not increase or it should not decrease below that point. So for that purpose, we generally generate alarms. So that alarms are generated. So the alarms is nothing but a tabular sheet where the date, time will be specified. And on that particular event, it will show you what has happened. It is a high alarm, it's a low alarm. So this is all been done. So historical, real time and historical. What is the difference between this is real time means what is happening now. Historical means what has happened 2 days back. So that is the difference between. So both the things can be logged and stored in the HMI systems. The different types of recipes are there. It's like if you are into the steel factory, so every steel has some different grades. Grade A steel is there, top quality. Grade B, medium. Grade C, lower class, something like this. So based on every grade, there is some specified recipes. So different ingredients are there. So how to develop this thing? How to create different recipes for my different batches or different products which I'm creating. So this is all done there. Historical data login and SQL servers. So these are the database basically. So whatever the values are being generated in the HMI system. So I can't remember all these things. See, if the parameters is continuously temperature is changing throughout the day, so how much values you can remember? That has to be stored somewhere. Some report generation has to be done. So for that, you can use this SQL servers, historical data login. So these are the different third-party softwares can be utilized. HMI can be hooked or can be connected to this. So whatever the data it is collecting from the PLCs, from the field, it can be directly diverted to these third-party softwares where it will be stored. So for further reportings. So that is what it is. So these what I'm talking here is about different of functionalities of the HMI. What HMI can do, why the client is loving to have the HMI in their system, in their process. So that is what I'm explaining you. So these are the functions because of this, and these are the benefits what you get it when you put the HMI in the system. So networking and redundancy, yes, of course. HMI can be connected to another HMI. HMI can be connected to multiple PLCs, or multiple HMIs can be connected to single PLCs. It is also possible. So this is what we call as channelizing or networking. So multi-networking systems can be can be connected or can be installed in the client area in the process industries. So these are the different functions which we have to know about the HMI systems. And the graphs which I was telling about X1, Y plotters, this is what it is. On the left-hand side on the top, you can see that between X and Y axis, so it is plotting the values. So based on the values, it will be triangular form, sine wave, cosine. So the waves can be changed. Okay, so don't get into that. This is the final product. It's not like that. So the waves can be of any shapes. Below on the right hand side, you can see here, this is what I was talking about, the alarms. So tabular sheet is there, date, time, message, event, on it has been acknowledged or not, that means it has been read or not, who is the operator, name of that operator, something like this. So all these things, and what is its condition, it is in alarming state or it is out of the alarm now. So all these indications will be shown on these things. So there is no particular limits on how many alarms and how many trains can be used. You can use multiple trains and multiple alarming systems in the HMI system. So in HMI, there are number of screens. It's like you can't plot everything in a one single window. Okay. Just like I was telling about, see, this is your screen. So this is one screen. So I can't plot each and everything on this particular screen. You should have a number of screens. I can scroll from one screen to second. That means I can activate another screen also. So I can see number of screens one after the other, just like in mobile phone. So the same thing. So there is no limitations how many graphs you can create. You can create graph number one on screen number one, graph number two on screen number two. Maybe the alarms is on screen number three. So multiple alarms and multiple graphs can be created here. It's possible. This is a better picture of alarms, basically. On the top and below, all this is related to alarms. So in different HMI systems, you will find a different typical style of alarms are there. Somewhere you may find number of columns more, less, something like this. And as I was telling about that HMI are created by a number of manufacturers. So on the left hand side is the name of the manufacturer. The first one, just for example, I will tell you, Schneider Electric. Magellis is called as the name or the model name. That means the HMI model, hardware model is called as Magellis. So the same thing in Siemens, it is called as KTP series. And the right hand side, what it is written, just like in front of Magellis, you can see that it is written as Vigio Design. So this is the name of the software. Every HMI has a different software name. You can see on the things. Okay, just like on the last, you can see Delta DOP series, DOP soft. So Delta is on the last. You can see. So Delta is another manufacturer who also creates PLC. They also make HMI systems. So there is not like any topmost brand here, just like this is the famous one or this is the best one. It's not like that. Okay, if you have the PLC of Delta, I will go with the PLC HMI, the same Delta HMI. Sorry. The same thing if I have a Rockwell Automation products in my company, so I will definitely go with the HMI also with the same make. So that is how client prefers basically. So if you want to check around the HMI system in the Google, if you just type the HMI, automatically it will come. Okay, just for our reference, I'm just going through this one of the examples. So here it will be clear how this HMI is used. You can see here the operator is using to change the length of the cable, the size of the cable, what should be the feeding time. It should be in manual or auto. So all these buttons are touch screen. You can see here. So he's just selecting how much of cutting has to be done or how much, what should be the length of that wire and how many quantities has to be required. So all has to be selected first. This is HMI. So we will move it further. So there you can see the machine next to that. So once the selection is done, once it is set, this is the machine you can see. So generally they don't stand in front of the machine because you can see that machine having mechanical bodies and all those things are there. So that there is a dangerous thing for the human being to be standing there. Okay. And definitely every machine has sound and some noise has to be will be created there. So to be on the safe side, it is better to operate it from a remote place, some corner, safe side basically. So this is the best option. You can see that HMI is at one area. The machine is totally, you can see that it has been safeguarded. The machine is safeguarded by the, you can see that some channels are there, some gate is there. So this is how it is done. So actual machine is somewhere else and it has been operated from this particular point. So that is the main purpose of the HMI system basically. So the life of the HMI is very less. Hardly something 4 to 5 years is the maximum what they can sustain basically. But if they are rugged, they can sustain the environment which is there in the industry, that dusty environment, and the environment is not good enough, high moisture somewhere, some humidity is high there. So all they can sustain basically. But the life is only up to 4 to 5 years. So this is one of the application of the HMI. And if I go with another thing, just like some company, they have created their own HMI, just like Snyder, for example. So these are the HMIs developed by the Snyder system. You can see that this is this is the newest product by the Snyder, latest one. So there are so many options, communication ports of the HMI systems. If you see the screens, the size, based on the requirement of the client, the size of the HMI will change, and definitely the cost will also increase. So the resolution is really good. Nowadays, it has been really the number of colors that the HDD image type is all been set there. So one of the fantastic HMI systems you will get in this era. So this is a battery basically. So backup battery generally. So whatever you are storing the files, that means once you download the screen develop, whatever the develop screens you have developed it and you have to download it. Once it is to get downloaded into HMI, it gets stored into some RAM area. So for that RAM, that means for that memory, you require a backup battery. So this is what it is shown. Then the resolution of the screen, the colors are really good. And these are the ports you can see here. So these are the communication ports. Nowadays, the HMI can be connected directly to your mobile phone. Yes, of course, it can be done. So that is why I'm showing you the latest products. Previously, these applications are this type of features were not there in the HMI systems. Nowadays, they are really good. So these Ethernet ports are there, which can be connected to internet, which can be connected to PLCs, which can be connected or which can have number of ports are available, so that it can be connected to various communication ports supported by the PLCs. Ultimately, HMI will be connected to PLC. That has to be clear in your mind. And every HMI has a different software. Just like this, Snyder is using EcoStruxure HMI Visual Designer. That's the full name of that. And this can be connected to various. So a complicated structure can also be created, completely integrated with the various models and various PLCs. It is possible. So that is what been explained here, basically. So might be you will be clear with the things, what HMI means basically, and how it works in the process industries. So HMI is not restricted to any particular one process. Okay. So don't assume it is only for a thermal power plant or only steel factory. It can be used anywhere in any of the industries. So once you visit any industry, you can definitely see the HMI systems on the panel. Yeah, so that's it. Hope so you are clear with the concept called HMI systems. Again, if you have any queries, any questions, you please get connect to Shiksha Junction. We are always happy to have a sessions with you, and please comment on these sessions and subscribe our whatever the latest videos are coming. Thank you very much for the today's session. Thanks.